There was a broad rejection of the idea of a nationwide rewrite by the unions. They seem to believe consensus was reached, and Umalusi went away and decided to unilaterally call for this nationwide rewrite of those two papers. Is that how it happened, and why did you do that about turn?
Just a few issues to correct. First of all, Umalusi did not sit in a meeting of the department and the unions. Umalusi considered a report of the Department of Basic Education, which was tabled with us on the 1st of December 2020. That report said to us they have not completed the investigations, and the investigations will not be completed in the near future. Further, the report said the full extent of the spread of the leaked papers has not been determined. And when you look at the social media where these papers were circulating, you'd observe that these papers have been irrevocably compromised. Now, for us to wait until February, when we'd have to approve these results, it would be problematic. Umalusi is mandated through the General and Further Education and Training Quality Assurance Act and the National Qualifications Framework Act to ensure the integrity, credibility, and validity of the National Senior Certificate. Indeed, when we met the department to consider their report, we came to a point where we said these papers have been irrevocably compromised, therefore a rewrite will do well, so that we don't wait for the approval of the results and only then indicate our reservations.
Is that the right thing to do? And when you say irrevocably compromised, the National Investigation Task Team, according to SACTU, of course, these are not my figures, they are saying only 195 students so far are proven to have been exposed to this paper.
The department has not been able to prove to us the extent to which the papers have spread. You and I know that with social media such as WhatsApp, once I send something to a friend now in Bloemfontein, he may send it to somebody else in Kimberley, and the network is just too broad for us to be able to say to what extent have these papers been spread. So the papers have been compromised. Can you imagine, Thabo, in January, February, when we release the results, a student getting a distinction, and people start saying, but that distinction is not credible. That would be a serious problem.
Yeah.
In the same vein, some students will claim that they did not have access to the paper,
Yeah.
and therefore they've been disadvantaged, whilst others have been advantaged. It is very important that we protect the validity, credibility, and integrity of these examinations.
Now, it's not the first time, and I'm sure you're aware that a paper has been leaked in 2017. Similar, it was a Maths 2 paper, it turns out, that was also leaked. This is what Umalusi said in a statement. Irregularities occur in all examinations or assessments, and the examination system must have mechanisms to manage irregularities. What are those mechanisms at your disposal, and why are you going for the severest one of all? I mean, there is investigative marking. Why are you not opting for that?
The 2017 scenario is different from what is happening now. In 2017, the leak was contained in Limpopo. Now, the leak has spread to all provinces in the country, so that the compromise of the paper is systemic. It affects everybody, and it brings into question the credibility of these examinations.
But why punish students? Because the Department of Basic Education did not vet its people. It's the department that had dealings with corrupt individuals who lack integrity, who don't understand the implications of leaking an exam paper. Now you've got students who genuinely wrote under very severe COVID-19 environment, having to go through that anxiety all over again. Are you not punishing those students for a fault that is not entirely theirs?
I don't see it as punishment, Thabo. I see it as protecting the students. Let's look at it positively. Instead of thinking of punishment, Nobody's been punished here. We are just saying we want to protect the interests of all the students in terms of fairness. And also that the students are now going to have the second opportunity where they might have gone wrong with one question and they are not comfortable. They are now going to have the opportunity of revising and saying, in that question in algebra, I did not do well. And they are going to now be able to revise that section of the work. More than punishment, it is protecting our students.
Yeah. The students don't see it that way. In fact, COSA is calling on students to boycott this particular rewrite. What would be the implications of that?
The implications of that would be that if the students don't turn up to write, they'll not be resulted, because the only paper that is going to be valid is the paper that is going to be rewritten. The net effect of that will be that the student who chooses not to come and sit for the maths paper 2 and physical science paper 2 will not be resulted. He'll be having the results of the 2 subjects outstanding on his statement of results. So it is very important that the students start revising now and stop being anxious about the rewrite. See this as an opportunity to do better in the examinations, and see it as an opportunity of getting a credible matric certificate whose standing is not going to be questioned by anybody beyond February 2021.
We're living in a day of, and from what I gather, Dr. Rakometsi, is that you're saying this is because this was not a physical leak, but an electronic leak, and therefore you're unable at this particular point to determine the extent to which pupils might have had sight of this particular paper. We are now in the era of electronic leaks. What is it that needs to happen then to ensure that, in the future, such events do not happen? I mean, as we speak, it's not just one paper that was leaked, it is actually 3, because the business paper was also leaked. That tells you that the examination system itself, or the administration of the examination system itself, is failing.
I've had the opportunity of looking at the systems that are used by the Department of Basic Education to protect the integrity of these papers. Their systems are intact. I'm talking about the printing, storage, transportation of these papers. What is lacking is the human element in the whole value chain. What is problematic is that an individual may be committed to a course at one point, only to renege and work against that course. I'm talking here about individuals who work in examinations, like the individual who has leaked this paper. What then the department has to do is to vet all the officials that work with examinations papers. They must check their criminal record, they must check their bank statements, they must check their commitment to the transformation agenda of this country, they must check the kind of connections that these individuals have, and keep an eye on them on a regular basis through our intelligence agencies in order to protect the integrity of these examinations. As for the systems that the department employs, they are tamper-proof. It is individuals who work in the examination system who compromise our papers.
I appreciate your time, and thank you very much for joining us tonight here on the Newsfeed Late Night. That is the CEO of Umalusi there. When we continue